Hi everyone, either welcome for the first time or welcome back to my channel. I'm Kristen, and today we're going to be doing a mat and reformer workout using the AEROPILATES reformer. If we get to an exercise today that does not feel right for your body, if something causes pain, please leave that exercise out and wait for the next one that is right for you. So we'll be starting on the mat. Go ahead and lie down on your back. And if you notice your neck feels really strained, if your chin is kind of tipping too far up to the ceiling, you might want to have a small pillow under your head or even a small folded up towel, which is what I have today. We're starting with the exercise called the 100. Bend your knees into your chest. Lift your head and chest up and look above your knees. If your neck gets tired, you can always rest your head down. Lift your arms up above the level of your waist. Bring your legs forward to a tabletop position, knees over hips and shins parallel to the floor. Start to strongly pump your arms up and down. Take a deep breath in and a strong exhale. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull your lowest abdominals in, the abdominals below your navel. We'll do one more deep breath here. Finish your exhale, stop your arms, bend your knees into your chest, and rest your head down. We'll rock up to sit next, so hold behind your legs and rock up. This exercise is the half roll down. Keep your hands still behind your legs with your knees bent up, your feet down a fist distance apart. Reach your elbows out to the side. So sit as tall as you can to start, and then only very lightly round your spine. And then start to round your spine back until your elbows are straight. Bend your elbows wide to the side and round back forward. And again, round back. And come back up. And as you go, pull your low abs in more, and then pull them in even more as you come back up. It's a connection that you'll have to keep regenerating. We'll do just one more time here. Round back, coming up. Now our transition to lie down as you round back until your elbows are straight. Walk your hands down the back of your legs and lower yourself to the mat. Single leg circles is the next exercise. Walk your feet in just a little more so they're comfortable. Bend one knee into your chest. Lift your leg up to the ceiling. Keep your knee a little bent so it's still above your hip. And then circle that leg going across to your other shoulder, forward along the ceiling to your same side shoulder. Stop in line with your nose. Across, so around up. Across, so around up. And 3 more times, and try to keep your hips as steady as possible on the mat. You might have to make a smaller circle. We'll pause at the top and reverse. Open around up and open around up. Keep pulling your low abdominals in. And 2 more times. And then we'll bend in at the top, set your foot down, switch to the other leg. Bend your knee in first, lift your leg up to the ceiling, and then we circle across the inside. Across, so around up. Across, so around up. Make sure you find that full stop at the top every time in line with your nose. I'll go one more this direction. At the top, reverse. Open around up and open around up. Keep breathing deeply and regenerating your low abdominal connection. Once more, and then bend your knee in. So next we'll rock up to sit again. Hold behind your legs. Rock up. And this exercise is rolling like a ball. You want to make sure that you have a thick mat, that you're not doing this on a hard floor or using only a yoga mat unless you had maybe thick carpet. If you have any back injuries or osteoporosis, you'll want to leave this exercise out. Sit forward to your feet and then hold behind your legs. Keep your feet together, your knees a little apart, elbows out to the side. Just lightly round your spine enough that you can pick your feet up off the mat and balance, but still try to be very tall here. Think about being a capital letter C. Roll to the middle of your back, come right back up and balance. And again, rock back and come up, rock back and come up. And we'll go 3 more times here. Keep pulling your low abs in, and when you come up to the top, you try to keep your feet lifted and stop just shy of your sit bones. And pause, set your feet down, move your hips back to the middle of the mat with your hands behind your legs, round back until your elbows are straight. Walk your hands down the back of your legs as you lower down. Okay. Single leg stretch. Bend both knees into your chest and place both hands on top of one shin. Lift your head and chest up, look above your knees, and stretch the other leg up to the ceiling. Keep your knee a little bent. Elbows out to the side. Pull the knee into you and switch. Pull and pull and pull. And keep trying to direct your outstretched leg up to the ceiling rather than reaching it too far forward. Pull your low abdominals in, and we'll take one more each leg. And then bend both knees in, rest your head down. The double leg stretch. Lift your head and chest up, look over your knees. Simultaneously reach your arms back between your eyes and ears and your legs up to the ceiling, knees a little bent. Circle your arms around, bend your knees, and pull them back in. Reach your arms and legs, circle around, pull in. Reach, circle, pull. Inhale, exhale, still pull your low abdominals in. Go one more time. Bend your knees, rest your head down. The single straight leg stretch. Lift your head and chest up, stretch your legs up to the ceiling, knees over hips, a little bit bent. Both hands behind one thigh and stick your elbows out to the side. Let's go 2 pulls, pull, pull, switch legs, pull, 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 pull. Make sure you really hold either behind your thigh, or if you can, you could even hold behind your calf, but try not to pull behind your knee. We'll go 2 more each leg, and the other leg doesn't go too far forward. And then bend both knees in, rest your head down. Okay, so we'll rock up to sit again. And this exercise is the spine stretch forward. If you have really tight hamstrings or tight low back like I do, you might find it helpful to sit up on a prop like a yoga block, which is what I'll do today. And if this still doesn't give you relief, you can sit on the side of your reformer with your feet flat on the floor. So stretch your legs out wider than your mat and stretch your legs as long as possible. It's okay if your knees are a little bent. You want to get on your sit bones and be in the tall, natural curves of your spine. Reach your arms straight out in front of you. Take a big inhale, grow tall. Exhale, round and reach your spine forward over your legs and over the mat. Inhale, roll up from the bottom of your spine all the way to the top. And then exhale as you round forward again. Deepen your low abdominals as you stretch forward as far as you can stay on your sit bones. Inhale, when you roll back up, grow tall right above your sit bones. Exhale, round forward. Could you feel a stretch all the way to your lowest back bones? Inhale, roll up extra tall and feel like you're lifting each bone up to the ceiling. One more time. Exhale, round forward. And inhale, roll up. And then lower your arms down. Next, we'll move to the reformer. So my AEROPILATES reformer has 3 chords, and I've modified it to have 2 red chords and 1 black chord. You might have 4 chords, you may have even 5 chords. Some reformers also have springs instead of chords. So you can adjust accordingly, and let me know if you have any questions about your specific settings. So we're starting with an exercise called the footwork. I'm having all the chords on. The headpiece is in the up position, and we'll lie down. Place your toes onto the foot bar, and really feel that the space between your toes and balls of feet are on the bar. Now you have an option here to set your feet. You could either go a Pilates V, so your heels are together and your big toe knuckles about a fist distance apart. If this is really bothersome to your hips or knees, you can also go just parallel and still a fist distance apart. And that's where I'll be working today. So we'll press out until the legs are straight, and then bend and resist back in. Press out, resist, bend, and press and resist. Pull your low abdominals in. And think about growing as tall as you possibly can, even though you're lying down. We do this 10 times, so we'll take about 2 more. And then keeping the carriage in, change onto your arches. So right above your heels, lightly point your toes over the bar, and we'll press away. Press out, resist, bend, and press and resist. Just remember to breathe deeply here. And really think about you're not just extending your legs, could you extend your whole spine long? And we'll take 4 more times. Keep regenerating your low abdominal connection. And then keeping the carriage in. Flex your feet and go onto your heels. Pull your toes back to your knees, and then we press out. Press out, resist, bend, and press and resist. So you try to get out to your full length of your legs, and then resist the cords back in all the way. And we'll go 4 more times. And 2. Last time. Staying in. This exercise is the tendon stretch. Place your toes back on the bar. Make sure it's that space between your toes and balls of feet, and press out to long legs. At the same time, lower your heels under the bar and lift them back up. Lower your heels. Lift your heels with this rhythm. Lower, 2, 3, lift, 2, 3. Try to feel like you're still as tall as you can be and you're pulling your lowest abdominals in beneath your navel. And both heels stretching under the bar as far as they can, and then lift them as high as you can. Hug your toes around the bar. One more time. Now keep your heels up as you bend your knees, resist the cords back in. Next we'll go into the 100 again, just like we did on the mat. So reach back and gather your handles or straps. And sometimes they're a little sticky to get off the blocks. I have modified handles here that I purchased on Amazon. So I'm holding the rubber part of the handle. So you'll bend your knees into your chest. And then start with your forearms like about 90 degrees. So your elbows are bent and they're not quite touching the mat. Lift your head and chest up, look over your knees. Stretch your arms straight forward above your hips, your legs to a tabletop position. Pump your arms strongly up and down. Deep breath in. Strong exhale. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Just 2 more deep breaths. Keep looking above your knees. Deepen your low abdominals. And then you'll stop your arms. Let your knees come into your chest. Bend your elbows. And rest your head back down. Okay. So next we'll do an exercise called frogs and circles. So in order to keep the transition smooth, go ahead and hold on to the longer loops in your hand. And then sit up to the side. And you just want 2 cords for this exercise. I think I'm going to go with my 2 red cords, so I'm just taking off the black in the center. And then lie down on your back again. Okay, so now make sure that you separate your straps and bend both knees into your chest. This might be a little difficult if you're tight in your hips and your back, but try to bring your feet up into the straps. And then keep your knees bent as you roll the length of your pelvis down into the mat. With heels together and toes apart, make sure your knees are open no wider than your armpits. These straps live on the insides. First exercise is the frog. So we press out to a high diagonal and then bend your knees, resist the cords back in. Press out, resist, bend. I have a little squeakiness going on in my ropes today. Every time you bend in, try to keep your sit bones as level as possible rather than letting them roll up to the ceiling. Keep pulling in your lowest abdominals. 2 more times. Bend your knees in, and then we press back out for the circles. So it's like you press out for the frog again, and this is as high up as the legs will come. We'll open as wide as the reformer, press forward to maybe a little bit lower diagonal, hug the legs together, lift back up to the high diagonal. Open, forward, together, and up. My reformer does seem a little rusty and creaky today. And we'll do 2 more times, so keep thinking about your low abdominal connection. And try to keep your pelvis as steady as possible. At this high diagonal, let's reverse the circles, press down, open, around. So it's like you're trying to draw a circle on the wall in front of you, if you had a wall in front of you. Keep deepening your lowest abdominals. Let's take 2 more times here. Hug your heels every time in the center. Okay, now keep your heels together, bend your knees in with control, and then you'll take the straps off your feet. Let the carriage come all the way in, and then we can hang these handles up. We'll come up to sit. The next exercise is called the stomach massage. So we want to stay on the same cords, and I'll give you an alternative setup if this exercise is a little difficult for you. The ideal would be you sit fairly far forward and bring your toes up onto the foot bar. And if this is impossible for you to get into this position, you can always bring your feet down to the base. I'm going to stay with my toes up here, and you're on the base of your toes, fist distance apart with your feet. So you're lightly round in your spine here, but try to be as tall as you can be. With your hands holding firmly around the fronts of the carriage, press out until your legs are long. Bend your knees, resist the cords in. Press out, resist, bend. And just keep looking straight at your toes. Try not to look straight ahead of you. Don't look into your navel. You want to keep just a very light flex of your neck. And we'll do 2 more times. Okay, the next one is the reach back. So bring your arms back around to the shoulder blocks. Now, you can adjust your hands accordingly here. You can either hold around the outsides low on the shoulder blocks. You might want to go up on the top. I'm seeing where I feel the most comfortable today. I think I'm going to stay low. Roll your shoulder blades back and together and keep looking at your toes and press out again to long legs. Resist back in. Out, resist, bend. Keep pulling in your low abdominals and think about being as tall as you can be even though you're lightly round. You do want to stay behind your sit bones, but not really collapsed on your pelvis. 2 more times. And then keeping the carriage in. Take your feet down. So the next series that we're going to do is technically called the short box series, but we don't have a box, so we're going to modify here just by sitting on the side of the reformer. So have your feet out a little bit beyond your knees and a little wider than your hips. Maybe you think about your shoulder distance apart. And the first exercise we'll do is called the round back. So if you hold your arms around your waist like you're giving yourself a light hug, lightly round your spine like you're just kind of looking over through your legs. And then as far as you can keep your feet on the floor, rotate your pelvis back and then come back up. It's much like that half roll back we did on the mat. Do it again as you round back, deepen your low abdominals and come back up. And since you have nothing holding your feet down like we normally would on the short box, make sure you only go back to the point that you keep your feet on the mats. Let's go 2 more times here. Last one. And then we'll go into the natural curves. Place one hand at your low abdominals. Place the other hand at your low back bones. Pull your low abdominals in, lift your low back bones up, and now tip back in a straight line, very much like a hinge. And then lifting back up. Keep working the 2 actions of pulling your low abdominals in and lifting your lower back bones. And we tip back, come up. We'll take this 2 more times. Again, it's only as far as you can really keep your feet on the mat. Staying up tall, bring your hands behind your head. Now you really want to go to the center back of your head rather than the nape of your neck. Place your hands palm over palm. If this is really tight for your shoulders, then you can let your hands separate a little bit, but the ideal would be palm over palm. We'll do a simple twist here. So turn your head, twist your spine one direction. Really try to turn your ribs around. Look behind you. Come back to the center. Turn your head, twist to the other side. Come back to center. Twist, center. Twist, center. Try to keep your pelvis as still as possible so your pelvis doesn't go with you in the twist. It's just your spine. And we'll finish one more. And center. Lower your arms down, and next we'll go into the limbering. So take one leg and hold with both hands behind your thigh. Pull the knee into your chest, and instead of rolling back on your sit bones, could you stay on top of them, reach your elbows out, be as tall as you can be. Go to stretch your leg up and then bend it back in. Now keep pulling your thigh strongly into your chest, and don't just simply let your thigh drop as you go to straighten your leg. Stretch up, bend in. You should feel like a little shakiness when you go to stretch your leg up. It's okay if it's not completely straight. Bend your knee, place your foot down. We'll switch to the other. Grow tall, elbows out, stretch up and bend in. Stretch up and bend in. Keep pulling your low abdominals in and think about lifting your backbones tall to the ceiling. Take 3 more times here. Keeping the thigh really tight to your chest. You got to pull against it and then place your foot back down. Okay, so next we have a standing exercise. This is called the elephant. So standing facing the reformer, place your nearest hand on the foot bar and then step up with your farthest foot. Place your other hand on the foot bar and then step up with your other foot. Walk your heels back so they're against the shoulder blocks and try to lift your toes and balls of feet up. Have your thumbs on the same side as your fingers and even try to have long fingers. You're not gripping and pulling the bar, you're just balancing with the heels of your hands. Pull your lower abdominals away from the mat. Rotate your sit bones under like a dog tucking its tail and just kind of look at your toes. Now your only moving part is your legs and hips here, so press the carriage out with your legs, hold it, and then come in slowly. You can think of this count. Press out 1, hold, come in 3, 2, 1. Out 1, hold, and 3, 2, 1. And keep trying to dig the weight down in your heels instead of letting the weight walk forward to your toes. We'll take 4 more times here. Keep pulling your low abdominals away from the mat, rotating your sit bones under. 1 more. Okay, next are the knee stretches. So from this position, if you can, just gently go down to your knees. If you need to step off and kneel back on, you can as well. Place your feet against the shoulder blocks, and if it's possible to you, let your toes bend backwards. And then you round your back and sit down towards your heels. Really feel your sit bones curl under you. Your hands are the same way on the bar. And to press the carriage out, your hips will lift up in space as you press the carriage out with your knees until your knees are under your hips. And then bend your knees and hips and sit back down to your feet to resist the cords in. We'll go quicker now. Press out, in, out, in. Notice how my hips are going up and down. You have to have that rhythm so that you only move from your hips and knees and you're not pushing with your arms and shoulders. 2 more times. Keep the carriage in, and now change your back from a rounded outward curve to an inward curve. Look a little ahead of you and your sit bones will face out a little bit. And that's the same action. You lift your hips up to press out, sit back to come in. Up, back, pull your low abdominals in, and try to keep that 1-in-1 rhythm. Out, in, 4 more. 2, 1, stay in. Okay, so we're going back to another footwork exercise. This is running. So we're going to place that extra cord back on, or perhaps it's all cords for you, and then get ready to lie down again. Placing your toes on the foot bar. Again, stay about a fist distance apart if you've been working parallel. If you haven't been working parallel but in a Pilates V, you want your heels together and your big toe knuckles as close as you can keep your heels together. I'm going to stay parallel. Press out until your legs are long. And then lower one heel under the bars. You bend the opposite knee. Lift to 2 straight legs and then switch. And it's under, up, under, up. Try not to miss that moment of 2 straight legs in the center. Really push off your toes. Make sure your knees track straight up to the ceiling. Deepen your lowest abdominals. Be extra tall. We'll take 2 more times. Then keep your heels lifted with your legs long. Now bend your knees and resist the cords back in. And set your arches either on the bar, fist distance apart parallel, or you could go a little bit wider on the bar, maybe to your shoulder distance apart. I'm going to stay fist distance apart. Lift your hips barely off the mat, and then press out until your legs are long. Bend at your hips and knees, resist the cords back in. Press out, resist. This exercise is very slow. Deepen your low abdominals and just think about keeping your hips barely off the mat. It's not like a super high bridge. It's just like the very start of the bridge. You always have this feeling of your hips kind of being in a sling. You're not having to over-rotate your sit bones. You're just suspending. 2 more. Coming all the way in, lower your hips down. Okay, that concludes the reformer. We're going to come up for 1 more standing exercise to finish. So stand with your feet still that fist distance parallel that we were working on the foot bar. And we'll take a few cleansing breaths here with some arm circles. Take an inhale and bring your arms straight up the front of you and reach all the way up to the ceiling or the sky. Feel your back as long, your abdominals are in. Exhale, circle your arms around the side, but keep them in your peripheral vision. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, circle your arms around. 1 more deep breath in. And exhale. And stand tall for the rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye.